off the chart.
Yeah, probably 35 and a half.
I mean, it's amazing. It really is. So it'll be an awful lot of fun. So we got a lot of fun stuff to do. We'll talk some Jaguar football with you today. We'll talk Bama and Georgia today. I'm going to throw some potential coaches out there today, and because I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued easily, I'm often intrigued.
I am too, but I find that that's like a good way to go through life.
Yeah, you're curious, right?
I'm curious, and I don't understand a lot of things.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I have an elite skill. Chris Reimer and I were talking yesterday, my buddy Chris Reimer, and he's starting this new golf thing.
Cool.
I don't know what it is. It involves Tiger and is it?
Oh yeah, and Rory and
it's all that. So, but I told him, I said, and he's gonna once he gets through the Furyk, he's handling the PR for the Furyk, which is next week. But once he gets through that, he's gonna come by and kind of go on air and tell us a little bit about it. But I told him, I
love Reimer. That'll be great.
Oh, Reimer's the greatest. But we all pride ourselves in our elite skills. Yes. we all have a skill set, and I pride myself in the ability to sometimes not understand stuff. That's an elite skill I have, I think. Kind of a bonehead. So you're curious when you're kind of a bonehead. And so I pride myself in that. So he's going to come by and talk about that. But I'm intrigued with some coaches. So that's going to be one of our parts of the program today. I want to get to that coming up as well. I want to delve deeper into a college football topic today. Everybody is saying college football is ruined. Have you seen the red shirts are going left and right? Have you seen some of the latest ones?
This is bad. Yeah,
who's the kid? Is it
Bear Alexander for USC? Is basically said, I'm done.
He's done playing.
I don't like my role, so I'm going to red shirt.
Yeah.
And
so they're quitting left and right.
They're quitting left and right, and this is the time where you're going to see it. I'll be curious to see, Florida, this is really not the time to have a bye week.
Right.
Because you're getting ready to play that fifth game.
Right.
So basically you've given, everybody's got 2 weeks to basically think about, do I want to continue playing for this team and lose a year? So I wouldn't be surprised next week I'm not saying it will, but it wouldn't surprise me just based on their start. And you're seeing it all over, with the ability to play 4 games and still preserve that red shirt. It's just one of many things that the sport has got to tighten up, or it's gonna risk losing fans to apathy.
Yeah. So for me, in that regard, yes. And all of a sudden, college bowl games are meaningless. Bowl games were never considered meaningless till what? Last 10 years?
10 years.
Yeah.
Whenever Fournette and McCaffrey, whatever draft that would have been, what, that 17?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because they both opted out.
Right.
And that was sort of the two first.
And that got it going. The bowl games didn't matter. But up until then, bowl games always mattered.
Yes.
And so now all of a sudden the bowls become the NIT, particularly the bigger the playoffs have gotten. Bowls have become sort of the NIT. And I get it. But now that it's become sort of the NIT, means less than ever. And now here's the danger of the 12-game playoff, and I love that we have the 12 game. I hope we get to 16. But the danger of the 12 is if you're out of contention, is that when the opt-outs start? They started with bowl games, right? And listen, from the Florida State standpoint, let me be clear about this. When last year, when Florida State was 13-0, it was a crime that they weren't in the playoff. It's a crime that a one-loss team would get in and an undefeated team didn't. Jordan Travis or no Jordan Travis, those kids deserve the right to go play in that playoff. And if they lost because they didn't have their quarterback, so be it. But they earned their way in. For an undefeated team to not get into that playoff was comical, and every FSU fan in the world has a right to still be furious about it. If I was a Florida State fan, I'm still not sure I'd be over it. I get it. No way that should have happened. But because it happened, everybody seemed okay with all the players opting out. Well, it's not okay that the players opted out. It's not okay. They had a game to play. And so I never thought it was okay that everybody opted out. Everybody now says if you opt out of a meaningless bowl game, so be it. It's not. And yet, they lost 63-3. And I'm a believer that
it wasn't that close.
Well, it wasn't. And I'm a believer that how badly they lost in that game seeped into this season.
Look at Florida. Look at Dan Mullen. Look at that Oklahoma game in the Cotton Bowl.
Right. Yeah, it had an effect. I think if all those players play in that game, they're not going to beat Georgia. But it's not 63-3. if even without Jordan Travis, they weren't. By the way, with Jordan Travis, they might have beat anybody.
Right.
Without Jordan Travis,
Yeah, you're probably looking at a 20-3.
Yeah,
loss.
yeah. Georgia beats them 24-14, whatever the game is. It's 24 because FSU was good on defense. 24-14, 20, whatever it is. I think then you still go into this season feeling better about who you are than. I mean, they lost 63-3. It's not like that game didn't happen. It did happen. That Florida State logo and those Florida State uniforms lost 63-3, and all of a sudden they're lucky to be 1-3 this year. So I think it matters. So back to the point, everyone's opting out now. Having said all, here's where I'm going with all this, and I'll get more to this as we talk about it later in the program. We'll start with the Jags in a minute. But the game at the highest level is not worse, Hays. The Florida Gators just sold out again. The Florida football team, which is in worse position than it's been since I was in college. This is the worst the program's been since 1979. It is. It's worse than the Muschamp bad teams. It's worse than the McElwain bad teams. It's worse than McElwain and Mullins last year when they were lame ducks. It's far worse than anything Zook coached. Zook, they were going to New Year's Day bowls every year. So it's far worse than the program is. It's worse than any of the Galen teams were. It's worse than every Charlie Pell team except the 79, which is his first team. So it's the worst position the program's been in since 79. If you ask me right now to bet my money on how many wins they will finish with, I would be between 3 and 4. You ask me right now, they're 2-2. If you ask me to, what do you? I think the ceiling is 5, the floor is 2. Okay, the floor is no. They win. They don't win again. But I would guess 3 or 4. What would you? Right,
if I had to guess a number,
you're betting your money.
I'd say Florida will go 4-8.
Okay, so you're betting your money. You say 4. Okay, yeah. If I was betting, I'd be 3 or 4. So that's the worst. So the program's worst shape has been every game is sold out, and you think, well, Florida always sells out. Well, no, it doesn't. There were stretches there in the last 10, 15 years that it didn't sell out. So people love college football, and that's what I think is probably fueling all of it. Don't you think? I mean, are you surprised that every Gator game sold out?
I am. I am surprised.
I mean, every game in the Napier era, every home game in Napier era is sold out.
I will say the fans have been incredible for Billy Napier's 3 years there, and and I'm sure UCF is going to have a good number of fans.
Sure,
obviously,
that's probably part of it
because they're looking at this as going to be arguably the biggest regular season win they've had in terms of profile.
Yeah.
I mean, not that beating a 2-2 Florida team is all that, but it's UCF beating the Gators in the swamp. I mean, if you're a UCF diehard, this is this would have been a dream, 10, 20 years ago, maybe in some instances an unthinkable dream, and now you're 10 days away from probably seeing it achieved. So I'm sure UCF is going to have a good pocket of fans there, but it is still surprising to me, yes, that because the fan base is completely given up on Napier, but they love going, they love the pageantry, they love we are the boys and won't back down, and I think that they remain optimistic that maybe something can turn, but I have yet to talk to a single Florida fan that still believes Billy Napier might turn this thing around and be the coach next year.
Yeah, or media member, or anybody that follows it. Yeah, even national media members. Nobody believes he's going to be there next year. Yet people are packing college stadiums left and right. Ratings are off the chart.
Yeah. And we've talked about it. There's a direct correlation between that and Florida saying, well, maybe we should keep him. In play. There's a variety of reasons.
Right.
But, we've talked about it, and you've made the point, the day that 30,000 people show up for a Florida home game, he's going to be fired.
Maybe that day. But it doesn't look like we're anywhere near that.
Right.
And again, everybody wants the AD fired, to fire the coach. Well, I mean, the Florida athletic program, other than football on the field, is in great shape. It's in on many fronts. So we'll see. So we'll talk. But I want to talk about college football, the world that is. Coming up later on. Mike Griffith at the bottom of the hour talking Alabama, Georgia. I'm going to go over our picks, by the way. There's been movement. There's been movement in the standings. I didn't know that. JJ, you realize you made a run this week. Did you realize that? Made a little run.
I didn't.
Yeah, you made a little run this week. I'll lay out the standings. But JJ,
it's a long season. I was never worried.
But you had a very good week. JJ had a very good week, so we'll certainly do that coming up in a little bit. But let's talk some Jaguar football. Significance of this game, how they can win. Jags and Texans, who's healthy, who's not. We'll talk a little NFL football when we come back. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
High school, college, and pro.
As good as it gets.
Your home for the most play-by-play is 1010XL.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Embrace the start of football season with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start, and be sure to check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus, because for a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 6.5-point underdog at Houston. The over-under is 45.5 points. Georgia is a 2-point road favorite against Alabama. And the Noles, a 5.5-point underdog at SMU. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it is a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Welcome to ABS Advanced Business Solutions, your local authorized technology partner and home to Xerox copiers. Advanced Business Solutions.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. Or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically, if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari, at Bari Orthopedics.
I-9 Sports wants to make sure kids all over the First Coast can enjoy growing up on a field or in a gym. And right now, fall and winter registration is open. Find out what I-9 Sports offers across Duval, Clay, and St. John's. I9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Loggeman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, rolling lot bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie, and I've depended on South State for my banking needs as long as they've been serving Duval. Whether you're saving for retirement, purchasing a home, starting a business, your goals are their commitment. With forward-thinking, personalized banking solutions and best-in-class service, South State is ready to help you navigate your financial journey. Connect at southstatebank.com or drop by any of the 5 local South State offices. South State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it. They maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
So I'm watching just all these little shorts on Instagram or wherever, because I just think shorts are cool. You ready for me to drop some knowledge on you?
Yes.
It might change your life.
I'm ready.
You know John Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen are like almost best friends?
I did know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That changed your life?
It does. Well, it doesn't since I knew it. But what I didn't realize is that early on, Bruce didn't think Bon Jovi was going to amount to anything, right? Is sort of the backstory to it.
Here we go. Well done, JJ.
Yeah.
Well played. I didn't. That I don't know, but I know his first concert he went to. He was 19. It was a Springsteen concert. But now they just drive around in the car and talk. He said he's like once a month they'll just hop in a car,
yeah,
and they'll go cruising.
That's
isn't that perfect?
What do they listen to?
I don't. He said they just talk. He said roll down the window. He said we just talk. Someone will say, "So what y'all doing? Just hanging."
Yeah.
How about that? I want to be in the car.
That would be.
I gotta find a way. I gotta get in the car, JJ, somehow.
I would love to know if that's true what Hayes said.
I want to say
like,
it is.
He didn't
that
think
I don't
he would
know.
amount
I
to
think
anything, and now they're besties.
Yeah,
I don't think Springsteen was like rude about it,
Yeah.
but I think I mean again we're talking like late 70s.
Yeah.
Because and
Springsteen's 75.
Right.
John Bon Jovi's what, 60 something?
Probably.
Yeah.
And like Bon Jovi's first big hit was Runaway. He didn't even have a record deal.
Okay.
Like he did it all by himself. Like the thing that's interesting about Bon Jovi is he's such a great businessman. He basically got the band going and then just hired guys.
Yeah.
Like it's not like how most bands are organically formed sort of together.
Right.
Like Bon Jovi basically hired Richie Sambora and Tico Torres and the keyboardist and and the bassist and like they all sort of worked for him.
Right.
So that's why he has probably more money than any rock musician.
Dude, so not only do they go on drives, Frank, they go on 100-mile drives together with no cell phones.
Yeah, that's right. They don't. That's exactly right. They don't take the phones. They don't take phones.
Just no radio either.
They drive for 100 miles and just talk. They just hang. They just hang.
I couldn't imagine talking to anyone
not right.
like that.
But I mean, I just
took a trip to Tampa with my wife, and she was on her phone the entire time. Couldn't stand me.
Yeah, I'm easily fascinated.
Yeah,
but
that is cool.
fascinating. They just hop in a car and drive. Hey, we're going to go for a ride day. Let's go.
Imagine pulling them over.
Yeah, can you imagine? And it's Springsteen and Bon Jovi in the car. Yeah, so there you go. So,
wow, that's good stuff.
So there's that. See,
I will say
that's what I drop around here, Hayes. Okay.
I will say for
important knowledge.
Yeah, for Bon Jovi, obviously, like "Slippery When Wet" came out maybe a year or two after "Born in the USA." So like. Bon Jovi, Bruce was like obviously an essential rock musician, but at that point, Bon Jovi was sort of coming up in the heavy metal thing, and "Slippery When Wet" is a good album. But then they waited like 4 years, and they released New Jersey, which is a fantastic record, like holds up really well even today, and it's not at all like metal, like it's a much more like mature sound. It's a great record if you haven't. Ever heard it, and it's great start to finish.
Yeah.
But it's more like you can see that Springsteen sort of influence,
right? Not
and wanting to do something a little bit more with
soulful.
some heart.
Yeah, I get it. I got that for you. Okay, anything you need from that kind of stuff, I'm here for you.
I like it.
That's what I got. So I'm looking at the Houston Texans. They won in Indianapolis 29-27 in a barn burner. Okay, against Anthony. They beat Anthony Richardson in the Colts 29-27. They beat Caleb Williams and the Bears 19-13 in a close game, in a game that the Bears hung around the whole game. Okay, and that was in Houston. Minnesota put 34-7 on them. Now listen, we're one to talk. Okay, the Jags lost to two teams that look like they might not be very good teams, and then just had 47-10 put on them. I'm not, again, I'm not throwing stones. The whole glass house is stones thing. Okay, that's not the point. But we have to talk about, is it possible they're not nearly as good as we have made them up in our mind before the season began?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bobby Slowick was thought to be like, right there with Ben Johnson in terms of first in line for a head coaching job. And they're pretty disappointed offensively in what they've been so far. And Slowick's actually catching some criticism. You look at their offensive numbers, again, they're light years ahead of where the Jaguars are, but they are, 19th in the league in yards per play offensively. They're 20th on third down. They're 23rd in sacks allowed per attempt. They're 16th in interception rate. So offensively, they're not really doing anything that tells you that they're some elite team. And look, they're probably not going to have Joe Mixon on Sunday. They're probably not going to have Tank Dell on Sunday.
They're not going to have Dell and probably won't have Mixon.
Yeah, so, I mean, in looking at it, if the Jaguars were playing even remotely competent football, I think you'd feel good about going in there and catching Houston before they hit their stride, or maybe they're having a little bit of a regression from a amazingly, surprisingly good year last year. So, we'll see. But, yeah, Houston's looking for answers too.
Yeah,
but to their credit, they were able to, even though they didn't play great the first 2 weeks, they were able to get the wins.
They are 2-1,
and so they're 2-1.
And again, I haven't lost sight of that.
Sure.
They're 2-1. This team's 0-3. No, I get it. I totally get it. But and by the way, I think they have a good team. I just like I think the Jags have a good team, and I'm feeling worse and worse about that every week. But I still feel that for some reason. I think Houston's got a good team, but this isn't the Buffalo Bills, who might have the best team in the league. And I believe the Bills might have the best team in the league. They've been north of 30 points 3 times now, and they can really score. They
could have put up 70 Monday night. Josh Allen threw 2 passes in the second half.
The Jags played miserably in that game. The Jags were miserable in the game. They really were. But that doesn't change the fact that the Bills were really good. He didn't miss anybody. They didn't miss a block. They didn't miss a tackle. You still have to execute, even when the other team's not playing well. You can miss the open guy. He didn't. I mean, he was really good. He made the right decision every time. He hit the open guy every time. They dropped nothing. Think about it. They did nothing wrong in that game.
They were ready.
Yeah, they were ready. So
the Jags weren't.
Yeah. So, and again, that doesn't change the fact that the Jags didn't play well. So we'll see. I'll stand by what I said. If you can win this game, believe it or not, it can kick because of the schedule you have upcoming, and you've gained some confidence. I worry about the Jags' confidence level. Are they confident enough to win this game? Are they confident enough to win the game?
Do they have it within them to just get livid and say, we're not going to play like this anymore?
Great point. And I don't know that answer.
Well, the only answer we have right now is that they don't have it within them, that they're perfectly content to get their brains kicked in every Sunday and Monday night that they play. So, we'll see. But at some point, doesn't pride mean something? They know what they have in that locker room from a talent standpoint. They know they have a team that should contend, at least for a playoff berth. I think they actually have enough talent that if they came together, they could make a run, into the playoffs. But at the very least, they should at least be an in the hunt team, which they show no semblance of being right now.
Yeah. So we'll see. So we'll see. But I guess my point is, I don't think this is an unbeatable team. I don't think this team is nearly as good.
Houston could be 0-3.
Yeah,
they're not, but they're an eyelash from 0-3.
Then their biggest concern probably is their offensive front. So if you can find something defensively, just affect the passer at all. I can tell you, Minnesota affected the passer. He didn't get rattled. He wasn't terrible, but certainly they affected him. Now there's no Tank Dell, who he loves to go to, who can really run. Those three receivers can really run, but that's one less guy.
Yeah, and to not have Mixon.
And by the way,
Pierce is out too, who they've sort of abandoned.
And the drop-off from Mixon to Cam Akers, good player. But the drop-off from Mixon to Cam Akers is significant.
Without a doubt.
There's a significant drop-off in level of NFL player there. So yeah, if you can, I mean, I always have hope. I'm that guy. But I just think if somehow, to your point, get the hunger, get the killer instinct, you really have to push what happened behind. The most important thing they've got to do psychologically, and I believe this stuff matters, Hays, is the most important thing they've got to do is not get mired in how bad they've been. That's what happens. Bad teams, you know why they keep losing in every level, college, whatever, is because everyone tells them how bad they've been. They tell themselves how bad they've been. They think about how bad they've been, and they walk out expecting to be bad. That's what happens with bad teams, is they never get over that psychological hump that we're not very good. And so you got and that's a hard thing to get over when you're 0-3.
And if something bad happens in the first quarter
that's
of a
exactly
game,
right.
Here
we go again.
Here we go again.
Yeah. But the Texans, again, if you can find a way to win this, man, would I love to be 1-3. And here come the Colts, who haven't won here in 10 years, with a young, at times struggling quarterback. And then here we go to London with the Bears and a rookie quarterback, and the Patriots, who I think by then will probably be playing the rookie quarterback. Two teams that are not familiar with London. Man, I'd love that. I'd love to get there 1-3. I'm sorry, get the London 2-3. So we'll see. Again, glass is half full guy. That's who I am. But I think it's not unrealistic.
Well, exactly. Like we've talked about, the road. There's plenty of road left. There's 14 games left, and there are some favorable matchups you would think coming up on paper for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's not too late. And if they were losing, I think in a different fashion, maybe it would be like, okay, they're 0-3, but there's still a lot of belief. Like in Cincinnati, there's probably still a pretty good amount of belief that they're going to figure it out and get hot. It's just the manner in which we've seen the Jaguars and really since the Etienne fumble. It's like they've just forgotten they've forgotten how to play offense, and defensively they looked pretty good until they got to Buffalo and basically decided we're not going to cover or tackle anybody all night.
We'll get to college football after the break. Mike Griffith joins us to talk Georgia and Alabama. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
Summer is here, which means it's time for road trips and family vacations. Frank Frangie here. Before you hit the road, make sure your car can handle the heat with a visit to Big Chief Tire. Their expert technicians will ensure your vehicle can handle the summer heat, from tire checks to AC services. Avoid the stress of a breakdown and travel with confidence. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your summer checkup today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Are you an experienced plumber or welder with MedGas certification and you're tired of being undervalued? It's time to make the move to Local 234 Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and HVAC Technicians. With the best pay in the business, you'll earn $36.50 an hour with benefits that's almost $50. It's not just a job, it's a career that values you. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
It's truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done, like a brand new Silverado 1500. This month, you can save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado, for well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 1.9% financing and no payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. Now, with the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. Remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $22.50 in trade assistance. You want an even better deal? Ask about demo models for deeper discounts. Shop online 24/7 at NimnickChevy.com or visit the dealership conveniently located at Park Street in Castle. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra, maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1 mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at mackenziesrun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. mackenziesrun.org.
Get more Gators with Dan Hickett and me, Frank Frangie, on All Things Gators on 1010XL Gators Podcast, with new episodes every Monday, brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Are the company's Zoom calls getting boring? Might be a good time to order some new logo caps or temporary tattoos. Check them out online at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Okay, listen up, team. They're out to test our reputation as the best plumber in Jax, so we gotta play like the experts we are. When customers call with leaky faucets, broken water heaters, toilet repairs, broken pipes, or any other challenge, we'll give them the solution fast. Now, who are we?
Roland Reese Plumbing!
I can't hear you.
Roland Reese Plumbing!
Now that's what a winner sounds like. Customers always win with Roland Reese Plumbing at plumberinjax.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 7th.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
The Golf Club of Southampton has plenty going on, from a great round to a round with your buds, soaking up some football and great grub. Every Saturday and Sunday at Southampton, enjoy their game day special. Wings tossed in your favorite sauce and a cold pitcher of beer. Membership opportunities to take advantage of, too. Join Southampton with a paid initiation, and you'll get a $500 gift card. Perfect for golf, pro shop purchases, or the clubhouse. Check it out. It's all happening at the Golf Club of Southampton.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
As the Jaguars' offense has been dragging their feet to start the first 3 games of the season, it's been no help that they have been without one of the centerpieces of the offense, Evan Ingram, the last 2 weeks. Ingram caught only 1 pass for 5 yards in Week 1 against Miami and missed the last 2 games with a hamstring injury. The Jaguars would love to have him back against Houston this Sunday, as he is still day-to-day. Here's Ingram when asked about his return.
Pretty optimistic. Just still taking day by day, and it's based on how I feel. It's still pretty early in the week, so just doing everything I can with the trainers and listening to things they have to say and their input on it. And at the end of the day, it's how I feel, so we'll see.
I'm Max Fink here with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Barra & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for the College Football Insider, brought to you by the law firm of Woolsey Morecambe on The Frangie Show.
All right, it is time to talk a little college football. Nobody knows those dogs better than Mike Griffith, who checked in from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Dog Nation, as it were. Frank Frangie and Hays Carlyon with you. Mike, how are you, man?
Doing well, guys. Thanks.
Hey, man, this is a big one. Boy, oh, boy. I you know what? 2 or 3 weeks ago, Mike, I thought it might be an easy one for Georgia. Not easy, but easier than normal. But then Alabama played so well against Wisconsin, and Georgia stumbled around a little bit against Kentucky. What do you expect in fourth quarter game here, right?
Yeah, it certainly could be. I mean, it's under the lights in the SEC, and, it's Alabama's SEC opener. Kalen DeBoer, I think his first real test. So far, he's won the games he's supposed to win, but this is the first one I think he really gets judged on, right? Because Alabama's won 5 out of 6 against Kirby Smart, the exception being that national championship game back at the end of the 2021 season. Of course, Alabama won last year with Jalen Milroe beating Carson back 27-24 in a quarterback duel that came down to the fourth quarter, and was able to make more plays than Carson. So there is a lot at stake. It's an exciting game. There's two very different attitudes. Alabama is very confident and kind of outgoing, enjoying the moment, living in the success. Georgia, it's lunch pails and hard hats every day, stone faces. So very different approaches, very different teams, and a very familiar game, though.
Hey, Mike, it's Hays Carlyon. Great to talk with you again. How do you think Kirby will adjust his defensive game plan to stop Milroe this time?
Boy, I'll tell you what, right now Jalen Milroe is about as hot as it gets when you look at dual threat quarterbacks. I mean, he's got a bazooka for an arm and a guy in Ryan Williams that, forget being only 17. I don't know if there's a receiver playing better in the country. I think he leads the nation in yards per catch, just dynamic and explosive. So, for starters, I don't think you're going to be leaving that guy on an island over there against Ryan Williams. And then, Bama's got another good receiver, too, a little older guy. So, it's going to be tough to guard against those explosives and yet keep enough guys close enough to the line of scrimmage to, patrol Milroe after the play breaks down. I mean, there's 2 plays, right? When you get a quarterback like this, you got the first 4 seconds on schedule, the way it's drawn up, and then if things break down, you got Jalen Milroe's ability to make plays. And, as they say, somebody's band's going to play, and it's going to be up to Milroe to make sure that it's the Alabama band because Georgia's coming after him. Havoc. They're going to pressure Milroe and try to rattle him a little bit, force some turnovers, interceptions, sacks that can get him in long down and distance. Can Georgia get to him before he gets to Georgia is the question.
Mike, how good is this Georgia team compared to its predecessors? And look, and they reload every year, and they have a bunch of guys get to the NFL, and then they have a bunch of guys just like them that they reload with. But you know this team well. You know the personnel as well as anyone. Is it as good as the last 3 or 4 years? Not quite as good, a little bit better. Carson Beck certainly is as much a veteran as you can be. What do you think?
It's a different team. And, maybe from an overall talent standpoint, I don't think we're going to compare them to the 2021 team that had 15 guys drafted. And as it turned out, 5 first-round guys, including Trayvon Walker, the number 1 overall pick there to Jacksonville. If that team had just talent galore defensively, I think that's the big difference. They don't have those dominant defensive linemen that led Georgia to be 1 or 2 in the nation against run defense, 4 or 5 years. Last year they dropped off to 18. I think they were somewhere around 46 this week. Teams have had success running the ball. Now, that said, Warren Brinson, one of their starters, was out against Kentucky, which went for 170. And then the new Trayvon Walker, Michael Williams. This guy gets compared to Trayvon every day. He's an absolute monster coming off the edge. He's been out since the Clemson game with an ankle, and we're not sure if he's going to play. The linebackers are older and better than they were a year ago. The secondary, you lost 3 guys drafted in the top 100, but you got this freshman KJ Bolden that was headed for Florida State, and I don't know if he read the tea leaves and figured out that program was going to go down the tubes, but he flipped over to Georgia, and he's brought a lot of life into that secondary next to All-American Malachi Starks. So defensively, I'm going to call it a wash from last year, maybe a little bit better. Offensively, you lost a generational player in Brock Bowers, and you can throw the ball 8 yards, and this guy would take another 70. Tight ends aren't supposed to do that. Third down bailout guy, Ladd McConkey, explosive on the perimeter. Don't have that. Good receivers, not great. Good tight ends, not great. But what they have is Trevor Etienne, a guy that decided he didn't want to play this game at Florida under Billy Napier and be relegated to second string when everybody knew he was the best running back at Florida. So he took his game to Georgia and plans to win a championship, and that's why Kirby put Trevor Etienne out in front of the media last week. Not Carson Beck. Trevor Etienne was the only offensive player to speak during the bye week. And I thought that said volumes because it was Trevor Etienne that put the team on his shoulders in the second half at Kentucky and got the tough yards when the Bulldogs needed him.
Mike, how do you expect Carson Beck to play Saturday?
You know, Carson is one of the most intelligent and fastest processors that I've been around. The guy solves Rubik's Cube in under 60 seconds, no joke. The helmet communication, talk about an astronaut brain here. This guy is fast, quick release, quick thinking. I just don't know if he's got the weapons that can keep up with them. It kind of reminds me of Peyton Manning at Tennessee way back, taking some people listening going, wait a minute, Peyton Manning at Tennessee. That was a long time ago. But sometimes a quarterback has to slow it down a little bit, especially when you've got all these new players, Colby Young from Miami. You've got some, into this Michael Jackson guy from Southern Cal. There's just Ben Urasek, a tight end from Stanford. These guys, Young's done pretty decent in red zone trips, but the other guys, they haven't really made an impact. Dominic Lovitz, in his second year after transferring, he was the second best receiver on Missouri's team 2 years ago. Now he's the best receiver, most reliable guy for Georgia. Oscar Delp is an up-and-comer, Lost and Lucky, but they're not Brock Bowers. So it's hard for Carson. He can process and make the throws, but if those receivers aren't on the same page or getting yards after the catch, his numbers aren't going to look the same. And he's had some uncharacteristic misses. He's looked a little – Kentucky got to him a little bit. So a lot's riding on this for Carson, his legacy. Is he going to be a Georgia quarterback that goes 0-2 against Alabama? Or is he going to be the Georgia quarterback that gets a win in Tuscaloosa for the first time since Matthew Stafford did it in 2007? That's pretty good company, I'd say.
Was the Kentucky game just a bit of a sleep at the wheel, still found a way to win, no big deal? Or did it show some concern? Are they concerned? It was 13-12. Now, look, all that matters is winning the game, and Georgia plays them. Missouri's played them close, Kentucky over the years, and Georgia always finds a way to win those games. At the end of the day is all that matters. I get that. But did that reveal some things that would concern you or concern Georgia fans, Mike?
Yes and no. First of all, I think, we've got to respect the league and what can happen on any given weekend. We've seen that over and over, that, teams at home under the lights can play with passion. And Kentucky, of course, had, an added storyline. Former Georgia quarterback Brock Vandagriff was their quarterback. Former Georgia team captain and middle linebacker Jamon Dumas-Johnson was at linebacker. Mark Stoops and Kirby Smart, very similar in their philosophies. They've met 9 times. You look historically, Georgia doesn't score a lot of points up there. And Kentucky played doggone well. They won the trenches. And when you win the trenches, good things will happen. So there was a controversial call on a hit. It was ruled a personal foul, and it gave him a first down. In a field position game, a defensive battle, those kind of things matter. And that was the way that game went. It turned into a slugfest. And some games kind of turn that way. And the good news for Georgia is they've been tested now. Clemson gave them all they wanted for a half, and Kentucky gave them all they wanted for 4 quarters. And so the Georgia guys have had an opportunity to kind of see who's who and separate and who's going to lead and who's going to come up in the clutch. And they banded together and won that emotional road game. And there's something to be said for that. The coaching staff has a pretty good idea, a better idea, maybe strengths and weaknesses. Whereas Coach DeBoer at Alabama, this is game 4. And, I'm not saying he's still trying to figure out the names on his roster, but, he didn't recruit all these guys. And this coaching staff's together for the first time. And the first 3 games have not really been a test. South Florida took them into the 4th quarter down 1. All due respect to the Bulls, but not what I would have expected. Wisconsin with a second-string quarterback, Wouldn't matter where that game was. So I don't know that Alabama has really been tested and faced that adversity yet. And who knows? Maybe they won't. Maybe Monroe will go out there and just light it up with explosive plays. But I kind of wonder what's going to happen when they get punched in the mouth in the first quarter.
Mike, in terms of looking at the other potentially elite teams in the SEC, what do you see in Tennessee and Texas?
Wow. Well, Texas seems like they feel like they're built for this. And this has been a work in progress for Steve Sarkisian. He's done a really nice job putting a really good roster together, using the portal well. I don't know that I think they have the explosivity on the perimeter that they did a year ago. There's questions about Quinn Ewers' ability to stay healthy. I wonder a little bit about the Texas defense still. I know they did a fine job against Michigan, but Michigan's a relatively one-dimensional team. The SEC office helped them out. They get to play host to Mississippi State for their first ever SEC game, and then I think they play Vanderbilt. So that's not a bad way to start out your SEC future. They do play Oklahoma the week before they play Georgia, and the thing I wonder there is, do you got enough emotion in the bucket 2 weeks in a row? I mean, that's a rivalry game and emotion, kind of like Georgia-Florida. I mean, even though Florida's not relevant anymore, it's still considered a rivalry game, and Georgia likes going down there and winning by a big score and pouring a lot into that. They're never not going to like that after what Steve Spurrier did to them in the 1990s. They'll never forget that. So it is a rivalry game, and then they have to get up again for Georgia the following week. So I wonder a little bit about the showdown there with Texas and Georgia, and then you mentioned Tennessee, and what a great story, and I don't know anybody that wasn't rooting for Josh Heupel to beat Oklahoma is old school, and I think Coach Venables is a great coach and maybe the future, but Oklahoma's pretty beat up. Their offense, they lost a lot of linemen from last year. They've had some injuries at receiver. I wonder how much they've got left in the tank for Auburn this week, speaking of crossroads games. But Tennessee looks explosive. Nico looks like the real deal. Young guy, holds the ball a little bit. Wonder what's going to happen as far as the wear and tear. How many hits is he going to have taken by the time Tennessee plays at Georgia mid-November? So both those teams look great right now. I think that I have Texas number 1 on my AJC Super 16 power poll. I have Georgia 2. I have Tennessee 3 and Alabama 4 going into this week.
Final thing. The Georgia plays, assuming Georgia I shouldn't assume Georgia beats Alabama, but if they beat Alabama, they've got a couple gimmies with Auburn and Mississippi State, but then it does get tough. They are at Texas. They got a week off in Florida, which is like 2 weeks off, but then they've got to play at Ole Miss, who I think is pretty good. Now, we don't know. They haven't played anybody. And then right after that, Tennessee. I got to tell you, Mike, you talk about the SEC office. I don't think they did the dogs any favors, did they? That's a tough stretch there, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. And I heard, and I need to confirm this, but it makes sense if you think about it, that the way they did this scheduling, which would also explain why Florida has a pretty tough schedule, is they took the team's records over the last 10 years, and I think they kind of inverted the schedule, maybe NFL style, and, gave the teams with the better records over the last 10 years a tougher hand. That's the rumor that I heard, and that's what would make sense to me. That's all that would make sense to me. Otherwise, it does seem challenging. But you never know from year to year what's a tough game. I mean, there was times people looked at the schedule and saw Missouri and thought that was an easy game. There was times people looked at the schedule and saw Florida and thought that was a tough game. So things can change in this league quickly.
No question about it. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. In Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium, Georgia and Alabama, one of the first really big games of the year. Mike Griffith's checking it out from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and DogNation.com. Mike, great catching up with you, man. Thanks for spending some time.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Mike Griffith checking in. I'm telling you, man, that's the first – I was excited about the games of the first week because I really wanted to watch Florida, But if you take Florida-Miami, but if you take our teams out of it, this is the first biggie that doesn't involve a Florida school for me. I'm juiced for this one. Without a doubt. And look, it could be the first of 3 matchups that Georgia and Alabama play if they end up being the 2 best teams in this league, which wouldn't be a surprise. It's really, really interesting. And again, a huge moment for Kalen DeBoer. I mean, if they are able to beat Georgia, that will say so much about Kalen DeBoer as a head coach and
I always thought there'd be a drop-off with Nick Saban retiring, but if he's able to beat Georgia, that would be a pretty strong message because, if you win that game, you're going to have recruits there. That's the kind of performance that leads you to a top 5, maybe even number 1 recruiting class.
Let's talk some college football coaching. We'll do that in a minute. This is 1010XL on 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Hey, this is Donnie Edwards, former NFL linebacker. Just want to give a shout out to our men and women serving in our military, especially in the city of Jacksonville. And you're listening to 1010XL Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
It's time to take it back to the 90s, Jags fans. Be at the bank Sunday, October 6th as we debut our Prowler throwback jerseys against the Colts and induct legendary head coach Tom Coughlin into the pride of the Jaguars at halftime. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. You're not going to want to miss this matchup. Lock in your seats now by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists returns with their free bumps and bruises evaluation clinics. Now with 4 locations, these free injury assessments are open to all schools and athletic programs. Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 through October 26th at Cortex Sports Performance in Ponte Vedra, Preferred PT in Fleming Island, and also at Brooks Rehab on Centurion Parkway and Brooks Rehab at World Golf Village.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and it is hot out there. You know that, Greg, but Honda has a plan for you on or off the road.
They do. There's a ton of Honda scooters, Honda mini motos, great for the beach. Also get you out in the woods with a Honda side-by-side. Plenty to do and stay cool.
Yeah, 4-wheelers, and you can trick them out.
We can. From stereo systems to big builds, we do it all.
Everything's there for you to see. CyclesofJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser start the week by giving the ball to the best back in Duval.
And off, Fred Taylor.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein & Robbins DUI Defense Firm and Monahan Jewelers on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988. So call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
player.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
We love talking sports on 1010XL, and I9 Sports loves giving kids the perfect way to grow up playing sports. Fall and winter registration is underway. Log on to i9sports.com and see all they've got to offer. Kids 3 and up. You can enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount. Year-round sports all across the First Coast. St. John's, Duval, and Clay. Sign up now for fall and winter. Great locations added like Fort Family Field, Westside Middle, and Duval Charter Bay Meadows. It's all online at i9sports.com.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. Coach Mike Norvell previewed the Noles matchup with the SMU Mustangs. This will be a tricky game for Florida State as SMU has a fast-paced offense, proving that as they hung 66 points on TCU last weekend. Coach Norvell knows this game will not be a walk in the park, as this is the rundown he gave of SMU's strengths on the field when he addressed the media.
It's a good football team. I mean, it's one that, they've got explosive playmakers. They've got dynamic quarterback, best tight ends that we've played against. They've got guys that you get them the ball in space, they can make things happen. Defensively, they're going to be very aggressive in what they do. This is a team that can present a lot of challenges, and we're going to have to go and we're going to play better than what we've played. It's going to be a great atmosphere.
Right now, it's 85 degrees at 4:59. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
Frangie and Carlyon, JJ LaSelva, do thank our friends from Stanley Pools. Gosh, they do a terrific job. Since 1988, man, Stanley Pools is the name in Jacksonville. If you want a pool, and when that summer comes around, man, you're going to be glad. Man, I spent so much time in ours this year, and you'll be glad. It's getting hot. It's hotter than ever. I mean, it's like hot these days in the summer, isn't it?
Yes.
So get a pool from Stanley Pools. No rain yet. Does the rain started yet here in Jacksonville, Florida?
We had rain at the house, but I didn't know if it's hurricane rain or if it was just like regular rain. It felt like hurricane rain because it was brief.
Yeah.
And there was wind behind it.
Yeah,
but I didn't know if it was a band or.
Yeah, you just dropped meteorology on them right there. That's what you did.
Well, I've got my super Doppler.
Yeah. Hurricane rain or rain is fantastic. Yeah. Again, I fit these conversations. I'm a very simple man. I'm a public school guy. But I don't think it started. Please be safe, by the way. Yes. We have not hit the rain yet, but we do expect that our area is going to get hit.
Yes.
If your area is not, if you're hearing us and you haven't been hit yet, it's probably going to happen. So please stay safe. Probably tonight, sometime. I do think about tomorrow it blows out of here. If everything.
I think isn't it like because it's moving really fast?
Yeah.
It's moving at the storm is moving at like 23 miles an hour, and so I think like while we sleep, I think is when it's going to probably come through. So that's always good in terms of timing.
Yeah. So we'll talk about quarterbacks a little bit. I mean, coaches a little bit. So, because I thought about something we've said every day on the program. In all likelihood, Billy Napier's not the Florida coach, okay? And there's a chance that the coach is Lane Kiffin. That's what everybody hopes, thinks, the whole bit, right? But he might not be. Who knows? There might be a skeleton in his closet people don't know about. He might not want to go. My guess, if you ask me to guess, my guess is going to be they're going to fire Billy Napier after he wins 3, 4, 5 games, whatever it is, 3 or 4 games. And Kiffin's going to be the name you see everywhere. and then there's going to be some gnashing of teeth and some worry, and Ole Miss is going to push to keep him, and he's going to be in the playoffs, and you're going to worry about the time. But at the end of the day, Lane Kiffin's going to be the next Florida coach. That's my guess. So my guess is that Lane Kiffin's going to be the coach. But for the sake of the conversation, we don't know that he is. So if it's truly not him, if Billy Napier's not the coach, and it's truly not Lane Kiffin, who do you think it's going to be? My guy's Jeff Brom, but I don't hear that anywhere. I don't hear anybody mentioning that but me. And by the way, Scott Strickland, who by now you know, whether you want to or not, is going to be involved in the search. Now, maybe he'll have boosters and other school officials and other people in a committee and a search committee assisting him. But if you think for a minute, that unless they fire him too, and I don't hear any indication.
I just don't see how they can do it.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going, nor do you hear that they're going to.
Yeah,
so whether you like that or not, so back to the football coach.
They have no leadership right now. I mean, it would just be so tough to.
Yeah, so I don't think they're
fire your athletic director when you don't have a president.
Yeah. So I don't think that's good. So anyway, for the sake of this conversation, Scott Strickland leads the search. If they fire Napier, we all still think that's going to happen, and I still think it's going to happen. And if it's not Kiffin, and I do think it's probably going to be Kiffin, but I don't think it's going to be an easy Kiffin. You know, does that make sense? I think.
Why would he make it easy?
Well, that's right. Well,
he has all the leverage in the world.
And two schools with a lot of money. Florida's always had a lot of money, and a way bigger endowment, by the way, than Ole Miss. But Ole Miss has got a really good NIL situation. So let's assume it's going to. But for the sake of might be the Florida football coach in 2025 if it's not Billy Napier or Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I think Jeff Brom is a great.
That's my guy.
Is a great
but
candidate.
You don't hear it anywhere.
You don't hear. Well, the reason I don't think you're hearing supplemental candidates is because I think, for one, Napier hasn't been fired.
Correct.
So that's part of it. But I think even with that, I don't know that I've ever seen so much groundswell for a singular candidate than I have for Lane Kiffin getting the Florida job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like
not just Spurrier. Not just it's very
right. Yeah.
It's very trust me. I covered the whole search. It's very, very akin to Spurrier. The difference was Spurrier was the golden boy coming home.
Right.
But it is very. It's the and Georgia and Kirby. It was like this. I can tell you.
Yes.
Once they fired Mark Richt,
it was Kirby Smart.
Kirby was their Spurrier, and today they're and he was Spurrier. He was the golden boy coming home.
Right.
But I agree with you. I interrupted you, but I agree with you. There hasn't been one singular candidate in the mind of the fan base like this in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd obviously, let's say Lane Kiffin, for whatever reason, isn't the guy. You know, I think if you're Scott Strickland, you've got to call James Franklin. You've got to call Lincoln Riley. Obviously, you got to start with Saban just to have him tell you no. You know, but, you know, look, if you go further down, I think Mark Stoops would be a good coach at Florida. I think there would be a lot of fan upheaval, which I think is unfortunate for him because I think you give Mark Stoops the Florida program, and I think you can at least count on, all right, this is somebody that is going to build a physical roster and is going to get you to a place where you're no longer an embarrassment. Like you're gonna with your floor with Mark Stoops is going to be 8-4. Give him a year to get his guys, but once he gets his feet set in Gainesville, you're going to get 8-4, which I understand is not where Florida wants to be, but you would have to hope that he is able to find a ceiling of being able to regularly get into the playoff and hopefully have some success in it. So I'm souring on Drinkwitz because I watched a little bit of the Vandy game. I even remember going back. They won the game last year when Mevis made the 60-yarder, I think, to beat Kansas State.
Right.
But he made a just horrific clock blunder in that game and got bailed out by his kicker. So, I've just seen too much of Drinkwitz. I don't know how good of a game manager he is. So I do commend what he's done at Missouri. He's done a very nice job. He's an offensive guy. But Drinkwitz is one that I think they could get, but I'm a little I'd rather have Mark Stoops than Drinkwitz.
I would too.
So I think those are sort of the names that you would look at.
Yeah. So in that story, but in the story, the really good story that who wrote it, the
On CBS Sports.
Yeah, it was really good.
Richard Johnson and
he was one of them, and Brandon was it Marcello? What's the deal?
Yeah.
It was
really good about going through. I didn't know about the board of trustees and sort of that setup.
It was as good a story about where the Florida situation is with as much detail as I've seen. If you haven't read that one, I tweeted it out. So go to my timeline if you want to read it, because I tweeted out or quote tweeted it. It's as good a story as I saw on that whole situation. I thought it was really good, and it mentioned everything we've all talked about, and it mentioned Cliff Kingsbury.
That's right.
It mentioned, and I had not seen him mentioned anywhere. It mentioned Cliff Kingsbury. Now, in fairness to the authors, they weren't saying this is the coach.
Right.
They said, here's the names you hear.
Right.
But I had not heard that name. So they heard
I have not either.
They heard it somewhere. Cliff Kingsbury.
He fits what they need. I don't think it'll be Cliff Kingsbury.
Well, here's the problem. He was a head coach for 10 years between Texas Tech and Arizona in the NFL. You know how many winning seasons he had?
None.
2. He had 2 winning seasons in 10. Can the University of Florida Can the University of Florida hire a coach that in 10 years as a head coach had 2 winning seasons?
I don't think so.
I don't either. But here's what's weird. I don't think they can hire him, but I wouldn't hate it. I can't put my head around it.
I would hate it.
Yeah,
he's what they need.
I'm not rooting for him. I'm just telling you.
As an offensive guy, he is what they need.
Yeah.
In terms of that.
But not as the head football
But I
coach.
don't think he has any chance of recruiting at the level that Florida needs to stay remotely competitive.
Yeah, and I'm not rooting for him either. But when I saw it in that story, I thought, so I looked up his numbers. They're terrible. I mean, again, he had 8 losing seasons in 10 years as a head coach. So I don't think it's just like getting the hot group of 5
He's
guys.
exactly who you'd want as your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's right.
He's not who you want for your head coach.
And as the offensive coordinator in Washington, with Jaden Daniels, is doing it's only been a few games.
Right.
Looks like he's doing a really good job. So he's probably a very good offensive coach. So, but it's interesting that the name's out there. Would you be miserable if they hired a group of 5 guys? No matter who it is.
No matter who it is. If they do that, they should honestly shutter the program and just stop playing football.
Yeah.
If that's at this point the best Florida can do is hire Jamie Chadwell or somebody like that. And it's no offense to him, and maybe we'll look up in 10 years and he's the next Urban Meyer
but I hear
coach.
You.
But if it's me,
they almost can't do that.
I just it's at this point it's malpractice.
Yeah,
if the University of Florida can't go after hiring the Texas coach in waiting, the Colorado State head coach, the Mississippi State head coach, the Louisiana Lafayette head coach.
What do you hate about the Raging Cajuns?
If you can't, after those 4, go and get a guy that's playing Major League Baseball right now in terms of this league, if you can't go get somebody in the show, in the spotlight of college football, to come take over your program, then you're Wake Forest. Yeah. It's just if there will be no candidate that is not at an elite level school that I think would be acceptable.
Did I ever tell the story on the air? That off the air when I said, "Hey, I think they're going 10-2. I think the rally's coming." Did I tell that story? I don't know if I told this story.
I was pretty broken when you made that joke with how bad. I think it was like 2 days after the A&M
right,
loss.
It was after the JJ. Were you around for that? I think it was off air. We did the 10-2. My 10-2.
We were talking with Graham about it.
About
the Gators.
Oh, it was back in the back. Yes, it was off the air. It was about the Gators. I said, "Hey," after A&M enrolled them, I said, "Hey, I think they're going 10-2. I think it starts this week."
I couldn't even give you like a criticism.
Hayes looked at me like, "You know what, dumbass? It's really not that funny." Okay, hey, funny guy.
Yeah.
I know you're funny in your own mind,
right?
But you got to do better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, the look I've never seen that look on your face ever.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a grin.
No.
It was just you just looked at me like,
I'm not.
Shut up.
I'm not having that. I'm not having it. I just can't.
It was classic.
I can't even entertain it.
I'm glad.
And I try to be optimistic.
I'm glad I wasn't close enough for you to
bad.
take. You weren't. I wasn't close enough for you to swing at me. So I had air between us. So
yes.
You looked.
How many rushing yards for Texas A&M in that game? 330, something like that.
With a quarterback who would almost never play.
Had never played. Yeah. And you're in the swamp.
And
good going, Gators.
Well, they held Mississippi State.
Get up and go.
To only 240 rushing. So anyway, all right, a couple other guys. because a lot of people think.
Well, would Group of Five? Is there any Group of Five coach that
I'd be miserable? I'd be just like you because I don't think now look, I think Alex Golesh is going to be a good football coach. I guess the Chadwell guy is going to be a good football coach. I told JJ, I told you this yesterday. I'm really intrigued with this Rhett Lashley guy who was so good as a coordinator at Miami. He was 11-3 last year at SMU. I think they're going to be. I think if they beat FSU, they're on their way. He may
Gator fans love offense.
Yeah, and he's an offensive guy. I really like him. I think Rhett Lashley might be the next big thing, but he needs to stop off at Illinois first. He needs to stop. He needs to go to Wake Forest and then become the Florida coach. I think that's where I am too. It's where I think you are too.
SMU is an ACC school.
Well, I'm a little intrigued with the guy, but the point I'm making, I think Alex Golesh is a good coach. I think he's going to do good things at USF. But back to your point,
Florida has lost the credibility.
Correct.
Florida has lost the savvy to say we're going to go find the next hot shot.
And what I've learned from the Napier thing is, Napier was really good at Louisiana. He went to a school that had been losing. He built it up. He brought in good players. By year 3, he was winning 10 games. He won the conference title 2 years in a row. He was a damn good coach at Louisiana, and so
he was.
Yeah, and so and we all read the formula, Hays, of really good coach at this Group of 5 school, raised in the SEC, coached under Nick Saban and some of the great ones. The formula added up. It added up to the recipe was for success, so we all bought it. What I learned, is no, not in this league. Not with what this league has become. You can't go from Jamie Chadwell to your Urban Meyer. You can't do it anymore. And so no, I wouldn't. But the reason I bring it up is these names. So they got to hire somebody.
You have to get a guy who can recruit too.
Yeah,
like
and
Lashley would be fun offense, but I mean,
that's right.
Can you come down here and beat Mario?
Yeah, great.
Can you beat Norvell? Can you beat
Kirby?
Yeah.
All of whom, by the way, other than Kirby, all of whom are at their second or third Power 5 or Power 4 school. And so no, but that's a great point. So anyway, but I thought Napier could recruit. I thought, oh, by the way, he has these great recruiting chops from Clemson and Alabama and Arizona State, and I mean, he's been all. I mean, look, there was nothing about Napier that said he wasn't going to be good, except what we now know, and that is it's hard for a Group of 5 guy to do it.
Yes.
So that's the part of the equation nobody had told us.
I don't fault the hire. I mean, to me, it was like if I am a general manager of the New York Yankees, and we've got a shortstop in AA that's hitting 290,
right,
and doing everything that it looks like will translate to the bigs, and we need a shortstop, I'm going to promote him, and I'm going to feel good about that promotion. But it doesn't mean he's not going to get to the show and become a 205 hitter who's terrible. And that is what has happened here. I'm not blaming anybody for Billy Napier. It didn't work out. It looked like on paper it was a very sound hire. But it did not work out because he could not execute at a high enough level, couldn't build a staff. I mean, defensively, they're atrocious. I mean, they've never been able to figure out the defensive side of the ball. I mean, he's made some improvements. The special teams this year is good. When you look at the metrics and everything, the special teams are grading out what top 30 in the nation. But there just isn't enough there. I mean, there isn't enough to stick with them. And that's the point. Like now, as a general manager, I'm not going to go and promote a guy in AA again. I'm going to go spend the money, and I'm going to go get an established shortstop to be my shortstop.
The guy that hit 23 home runs for the Mariners, not the Toledo Mud Hens.
Correct.
That's the bottom line. I think you're right about that. We'll take a break. Hays has headlines on the other side. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Wherever you go, we go.
Those are the rules. I didn't make them up.
Download the 1010XL and XL 92.5 FM apps for free on Apple and Android devices to listen anywhere in the world.
Maybe the key to the whole plan. You get it?
Got it.
Good.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents in 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
Hurricane season on the First Coast can leave you in the dark, so why not get a head start on storm season with a home generator system from American Electrical? They've sold and installed more generators in Jacksonville than any other company around, with scores of whole home generator installations throughout North Florida. That's right, American Electrical has been installing and repairing thousands of generators for over a decade in Duval. Keep your loved ones and property protected. Log on to american-electrical.com and see how they can help you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists returns with their free bumps and bruises evaluation clinics. Now with 4 locations, these free injury assessments are open to all schools and athletic programs. Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 through October 26th at Cortex Sports Performance in Ponte Vedra, Preferred PT in Fleming Island, and also at Brooks Rehab on Centurion Parkway and Brooks Rehab at World Golf Village.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
If the Florida heat is getting you down and you're sweating up a storm, fire up a phone call to Florida Home AC and order an AC tune-up. It's the best way to beat the heat and keep your AC unit working at peak performance. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for their tune-up special and make sure you're primed for the peak of that heat. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just a phone call away at 777-4300. Order that tune-up today.
Chris Doring is chomping at the bit to tell you about today's Gators.
Chomp, chomp, chomp!
With Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. Tuesday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. On 1010XL.
Hicken here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Baloo for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
This is Corona Premier. Just 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. It's a light beer that... Wait, this is a light beer? But we should really tell people about... Right, that's why I'm here. Sorry. Corona Premier, unexpectedly, light beer.
What is North America's largest freshwater fish? The answer coming up.
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to find an agent or get an instant quote online. Find us at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
North America's largest freshwater fish is the sturgeon, which this time of year you'll find swimming around in the Great Lakes.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
Football fans, huddle up. Make Best Bet St. Augustine your game day headquarters. We're serving up the ultimate viewing experience with all the big games on our massive screens, mouth-watering food specials till 2 a.m., drink deals to keep your spirits high, and we're open till 4 in the morning for post-game celebrations. Ante up for your team and score big at Best Bet St. Augustine this football season. For the play-by-play on our game day specials, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet St. Augustine, where every fan leaves a champion.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. We've got JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, give them a call at 251-1111. I can tell you they will take great care of you. Frank, we will start with our power rankings. Boy, these have become a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're great.
I thought by the time we got to this point in the year, we'd be talking about maybe a top 5, at least top 10 rankings for the Jaguars, but that has not been the case with an 0-3 start. ESPN has the Jags 28. Our good buddy Pete Prisco at CBS Sports has them 31st. And Pro Football Talk has the Jaguars dead last.
Well, there's three winless teams. I mean, that means 29 of the 32 teams have won a game, and there's 3 that haven't won a game, and the Jags haven't. Listen, you got to do it, man. You can talk all you want about roster and depth and elite quarterback who got paid and pass rusher who got paid and cornerback who got paid and Super Bowl winning coach, and you got to do it, and they know that. Doug knows that. The players know that. I don't think anybody in that building is would gripe one bit about where they're ranked. They probably deserve that at this point.
Yeah, and some potentially bad news today on the Jaguars injury report. Linebacker Devin Lloyd did not practice today with a knee, which seems like that just kind of popped up.
Yeah, had not heard any of that.
We'll see, but that's certainly a concern. Obviously, Evan Ingram and Foye Oluokun also did not practice. Seven Jaguars players were limited, so that's good. Usually, if you can get limited work in at this point in the week, you're on track to play. In Houston, their injury report: Joe Mixon, Tank Dell did not practice. Nico Collins has a hamstring that just kind of popped up, so we'll monitor that. But that would be big for Houston if they don't have Nico Collins. But even down Mixon and Dell, that really affects their offense.
Yeah, I would think Dell, Mixon are probably not going to play, and I think that seems to be the chatter out of Houston. So yeah, this is 2 teams that are down some guys. It's next man up for both.
No doubt about it. Press Taylor spoke with reporters today, and we talked about Houston's offense. Defensively, the Texans are doing a great job, led by those 2 edge players, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Here is Press Taylor talking about the challenge of blocking those 2 guys.
Well, I mean, obviously, you have to commit as many resources as possible to keep edges clean. And then when a team like this has edges, both edges are dangerous threats in terms of pass rush potential, you have to pick your spots with basically when are you going to leave somebody one-on-one, how are you going to provide help, what are you going to look like for certain aspects of things. Then, Derek Barnett and Jared Hughes they're great pass rushers behind them as well. I spent a lot of time with Derek Barnett watching him play. They obviously acquired him after we were done playing them last year, but he's a very good player as well. So we have our hands full again, which is no different with a lot of these edge teams. The teams have on the edges like this.
Yeah, there's good pass rushers. I agree with what he said. This is a team I think you can run on some. Their linebackers, Henry To'o was a good player, but their linebackers they run laterally, so you don't want to run sweeps and reverses against them. But they don't crash downhill like some of the linebackers the Jags have been playing. Certainly, like they don't have an Owusu Koromoa who looks like he's shot out of a cannon every time you call a running play that Cleveland had. So I don't think they're not downhill maulers like some of the other teams have had. So I think you can run right at Houston, and I think you may have to with those pass rush edge.
Well, to your point, that might be a good time for more Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see. I think Tank is a big physical guy. I think they're going to run the ball. I would imagine, who knows, but I would imagine against a team like this, you're going to try and run at them.
Defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen also met with reporters today and talked about a player, Frank, that you've been very high on for the last couple of years, Ventrell Miller. He will obviously take over for Foye Oluokun. Here is Nielsen talking about Ventrell.
The good thing is he's played in the first 3 games, before this happened, and so he has some game experience. He's been out there with the guys calling the huddle, things like that, and so that'll be a seamless transition. And as far as the player, he's an explosive guy. He's been running and hitting. He had a really good training camp. He's made some good plays the first couple of games. So we're very confident that he'll get out there, pick right up where Foye left off.
He's their fastest linebacker. Of all the linebackers, he's the fastest. So now, there's been 2 big issues with him. Number one, can you stay healthy? He's not a big guy. He's 5'11", if that. And secondly, rookies got to know where to be. But so he won't be as good as Foye Oluokun. Make no mistake about it. Foye Oluokun has led the league in tackles for a bunch of years. He's one of the better linebackers in the league. There's going to be a drop-off. There's no getting around that. There's no excusing that. I know it's next man up, but this is a really good player who won't be out there. But this is a very talented guy behind him, about the same size, not quite as big. They can really run, so it'll be interesting to see. I think it'll be Ventrell Miller out there, too. I think Chad Muma will play some, but it's not going to be Lloyd and Muma. It's going to be Lloyd and Ventrell a lion's share of the time.
Absolutely. Let's look around the NFL. Let's start in San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey went to Germany to get some further diagnosis on his Achilles injury, and there's now reports as he is back from Germany that he might have to miss 2 more months.
Yeah, if he's torn his Achilles, he's done. So I mean, we're not doctors. I'd be interested in asking Kevin Kaplan about this, and I might when I see him on the way to Houston or in Houston. But I thought if your Achilles is torn, you're done for a while. You're done for a year or whatever. They say it's not. I almost get the impression it might be an Achilles tear, but nobody wants it because they have Super Bowl aspirations, and he's one of the best backs in the league, if not the best back. Nobody wants to admit that. Don't you feel that?
Yeah.
I mean, he went to Germany for crying out loud. I mean, it almost seems like to me somebody said, look, you tore your Achilles, you're down until next year, and nobody wants to accept that. Doesn't it feel that way?
It does, yeah. And again, it will be really – they've done a good job so far. But you have to think at some point not having Christian McCaffrey is going to really bite San Francisco. Chargers safety Derwin James suspended for Sunday's game against the Chiefs for illegal contact against Pittsburgh tight end Pat Freiermuth and their loss to the Steelers. James is a repeat offender in the league's viewpoint, which is why he got the suspension, but his coach Jim Harbaugh voiced his displeasure with the league's decision.
Yeah, he's getting a reputation as a dirty player. I don't remember that at Florida State.
No, he's just a great player.
I remember him being a really good player, one of the best safeties to come out of college in a long time, but I never remember him having a reputation as being a dirty player. That was never the book on him. But yeah, he's down for a game for sure.
Week 4 starts tonight in the NFL with Dallas traveling to face the New York Giants. Can the Cowboys defense finally get going?
I don't know what to make of them. I thought they were going to be pretty good when they rolled the Browns to start the season, and then they haven't been very good since. Look, the Giants just went and beat the Browns, so I don't know what to make of that game. It's not scintillating to me, to be honest with you. I don't like the NFC games as much anyway because our team's in the AFC. But that's an interesting game for me. I will watch it because of course you'll watch it. But I don't know what to make of that. I really don't.
Let's get to college football. Yahoo Sports' Ross Dellinger has a really interesting report today that the SEC and Big Ten will meet in Nashville to discuss several important issues facing collegiate athletics. The playoff system, regular season scheduling partnership in football, as well as maybe non-playoff bowl alignments that are way more SEC versus Big Ten. It's coming. They're going to break away at some point. They can say all the things that they want to say, but when the SEC and Big Ten are meeting just by themselves, that is bad news for everybody else in college football.
I 100% agree with that. I don't know what kind of break-off is coming, if it's just a clean break. It's the 34 of us against the rest, or whatever the number is, 32 of us against the rest of you. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's or it's some sort of a hybrid. But you're right. The two with all the power certainly are going to make all the decisions. I think what you might see here is a scheduling alignment. I would not be surprised at all that all of a sudden you look up and that first week is Georgia, Michigan, and Alabama, Ohio State, and across the board. I would not be surprised if I think that's first. Secondly, the bowl, they already have a bunch of bowl tie-ins. The question then becomes, do they fight for AQs in the 12? That's what I would really wonder is, do they go, because they fought for it before. AQs are automatic qualifiers. Do they go back and say, okay, we want to revisit this thing to where we're guaranteed X amount of teams from our league in the 12? Would not, there's an arrogance there. It would not surprise me if that's the ask.
Without a doubt. It's a good story, so definitely check it out if you're interested in where college football is probably headed. Let's get to Major League Baseball. Not much to report, but the Braves remain one game back of the Mets and Diamondbacks for that final wild card berth. The Diamondbacks won yesterday, so here we go.
Yeah. JJ, I saw that if somehow the Diamondbacks got eliminated, the Braves and Mets might not play those Monday games. Is that correct? Did I read it right?
I mean, I guess they wouldn't have to. I've seen it before where teams only ended up with like 161 games and they didn't need to play the last one. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, though.
Yeah, I don't either, but
I guess that would make sense.
Might have been Joel Sherman who wrote it, who I think said that if the and I agree with you, the Diamondbacks aren't getting eliminated, but for the sake of the conversation, if the Diamondbacks got eliminated, that Rob
that doubleheader on Monday wouldn't even matter.
Well, it would matter for seeding.
I see.
But that Rob Manfred may jump in and say, we'll decide seeding on some other metrics, head-to-head or something, rather than play those two games if they're both in the playoffs. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to do that, but I read in Joel Sherman's story, I shouldn't say I read in his story that the possibility exists that he could do that. I don't think it's going to play out that way either.
Quickly on baseball, we haven't talked about this at all. Why would we here? But
I know it's coming.
The Tigers are like 9-1 in their last 10. They're in the playoffs now. They weren't the entire season, man.
Yeah, they play the Orioles in an opening round, and they're red hot. That's not where I thought you were going, by the way. I'll tell you where I did in a minute. But the Tigers are playing well, and the Orioles are concerned. I mean, the Orioles have to play a red hot team. The Orioles were one game back of the Yankees, and the Yankees went crazy. And even though the Orioles are playing well against them now, they're going to finish second in the division. I thought where you were going to go was the Oakland A's.
Yes. There's been plenty of scenes in Oakland the last 2 days.
Last game in Oakland today.
I can't imagine.
I thought they play again next year.
How do we not? No, they're going to Sacramento next year.
Okay, I see.
How do we not have the Oakland A's? How do Vita Blue and Reggie Jackson and Gene Tennis, man? I mean, Dave Stewart. How do we not? Ricky Henderson.
Yeah.
How do we not have? We're not going to have the Oakland A's. I mean, teams leave. I mean, the last time I felt this way as a little kid was the realization that we weren't going to have the Baltimore Colts. Now, that won't resonate with you two, but as a little kid, you couldn't not have the Baltimore Colts. I mean, the Montreal Expos is different. They weren't around that long.
That was like the Houston Oilers.
Yeah. The Houston Oilers, very similar. That's a good comparison. But you're not going to have the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
It just seems weird. The Bash Brothers. It just seems weird to me.
I hope they at least keep the logo and the colors.
Me too. Yeah, it's just weird stuff. It is.
Absolutely is. Today we pay tribute to local radio legend Arthur Crofton, a dignified personality for decades in Jacksonville. Crofton died earlier this week at the age of 72. He began his career in Jacksonville in 1978. Rest in peace, Arthur Crofton. I remember hearing him, having grown up in Jacksonville. I remember hearing him all the time as a kid. And he was probably the first person that I ever heard that had a British accent.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, I was thinking about it today, and because I remember being like 3-4 years old, and I would hear him.
Yeah.
Maybe he did like Team-In. I used to watch the Team-In.
He did, yeah.
I think he was involved in that, maybe the soccer team at the time.
Yeah, I only knew Arthur a little bit. Really nice man. What a genuinely nice man. We did a Burger King campaign together where we were the talent. I was the sports guy, and he was the music guy, and we were both spokespeople for Burger King. So we did TV and radio commercials together, and he was so nice, such dignity. Now, Frank, you go first. Now you do. He's that guy.
Yeah.
Very gentlemanly, a very, very nice man. Arthur Cross and Gone Way Too Soon. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you, as we get to pop culture, I will give you my review of Netflix's documentary on Mr. McMahon. Obviously, this focuses on WWE's Vince McMahon. It is phenomenal. I was riveted. I watched 4 of the 6 1-hour-long episodes last night. I can't wait to finish it. Certainly, if you're a wrestling fan, you've got to watch this. But even if you just like true crime documentary, it is really well crafted. Unbelievable interviews, unbelievable backstories. So again, if you're looking for something to watch, Mr. McMahon on Netflix, I can't give it a higher recommendation.
It won't resonate for me because I'm not a wrestling guy, but you've intrigued me enough that I'll take a peek.
Yeah, I don't think you have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy this. It is sordid, but it is incredibly well done. And we will get you out on our musical note of the day, because this week, back in 1991, the Red Hot Chili Peppers released their 5th studio album, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic. Fun album, up-tempo, mayhem, rock vibe. This is obviously one of the slower songs on the album, but one of their most popular. This is Under the Bridge. This album is a whopping 74 minutes and went platinum 7 times in the United States.
The Peppers, very good. Well done. Well done on headlines. We'll take a break. We'll wrap the program after this on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Sometimes I feel like my only friend is the city.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The NASCAR Cup Series racing the Hollywood Casino 400 at the Kansas Speedway on Sunday. It's the round 2 of the playoffs. 12 drivers remain in the championship contention after 4 were eliminated Saturday night at Bristol. Kyle Larson, who won at Bristol and also won the race at Kansas back in May, is the betting favorite to capture the checkered flag Sunday. He's a plus 350. Denny Hamlin at plus 500. Tyler Reddick plus 750. Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell both plus 1,000 to win the race Sunday. William Byron plus 1,200 and Ryan Blaney plus 1,400. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010XL.
This election, if you want someone who will take care of the messes, someone who isn't afraid to get dirty and work in the trenches, someone who will pump out the problems and prevent future ones, vote for the Duck.
Need your septic tank serviced? Call Duck Duck Rooter, your 5-star Google-rated septic company. Visit duckduckrooter.com.
I approve this message. When you're stuck, call the Duck. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can stand, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can stand, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM. Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Are you thinking about upgrading your outdoor space with artificial turf? Well, you're going to love working with Caleb at Sunshine Turf. He's genuine, always on time, and really trustworthy. Frank Frangie here. We at Sunshine Turf design and install turf at the Bragan Baseball Complex, and it's gorgeous and maintenance-free. From putting greens to pet runs around pools and more, Sunshine Turf can do it all. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today from Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
A hardworking student athlete deserves recognition.
Catch the Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Scholar Athlete of the Week. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on the Frangie Show.
On 1010XL.
Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to come out and experience one of the most beautiful and unique golf courses in North Florida. Affordable golf, friendly service, and great times in the Hills Grill after play. Book your tee time, hiddenhillsgc.com.
It's time to take it back to the 90s, Jags fans. Be at the bank Sunday, October 6th, as we debut our Prowler throwback jerseys against the Colts and induct legendary head coach Tom Coughlin into the pride of the Jaguars at halftime. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. You're not going to want to miss this matchup. Lock in your seats now by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows in $2.95.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates, in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey everyone, it's football season and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our two blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market. Most passing yards, gives the most for your trade. Most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase. Super Bowl champion, wow customer service. This looks like a winning season for everyone. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where you can score big all season long.
We love talking sports on 1010XL, and I9 Sports loves giving kids the perfect way to grow up playing sports. Fall and winter registration is underway. Log on to i9sports.com and see all they've got to offer. Kids 3 and up. You can enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount. Year-round sports all across the First Coast. St. John's, Duval, and Clay. Sign up now for fall and winter. Great locations added like Fort Family Field, Westside Middle, and Duval Charter Bay Meadows. It's all online at i9sports.com.
Are you an experienced plumber or welder with MedGas certification and you're tired of being undervalued? It's time to make the move to Local 234 plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. With the best pay in the business, you'll earn $36.50 an hour. With benefits, that's almost $50. It's not just a job, it's a career that values you. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Wide receiver Christian Kirk only recorded 2 catches on 7 targets through the first 2 games, but finally got going on Monday night, catching 8 balls on 10 targets for 79 yards. Kirk, who is one of Trevor's key targets, must continue to produce for the Jaguars' offense to start clicking. Here's Kirk on what it feels like to finally put up some numbers.
For sure, yeah, definitely felt better. Just
going out there and making my whole thing. And the reason why I was brought here is to help win football games. Obviously, we're not doing that, but just being able to get provided the opportunities to be able to go out there and do that, it definitely feels a little better, and just build off of that.
Hopefully, Kirk can get going again on Sunday when the Jaguars take on the Texans in Houston. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Let's cool down by telling you where we've been on the program today. Mike Griffiths stopped by from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution to talk about that fantastic Georgia-Alabama game that we're all looking forward to. That comes up at 7:30 on Saturday night. We talked a lot of Jaguars football today. The fact that Houston's good, but not unbeatable. They've had 2 narrow wins and a blowout loss. Now, they're 2-1. The Jags are 0-3. There's no comparing those 2 records. I get that. But and it's a road game. But it's a winnable game. And certainly if the Jags could play with some kind of energy, it'll be fun to see. And we talked about potential coaches, what the Gators should do. I think we're kind of in agreement, Hays, that a group of 5 guy would not make anybody very happy. So, and that's the cool down. That's where we've been.
Been a fun show.
Yeah. Again, when we get into the Florida coaching thing, I'm relatively sure he won't be the coach next year. Not because I think they'd pull the plug at 6-6 or 7-5, because I don't think he can get to 6-6 or 7-5. I will tell you, they beat UCF, which would make them 3-2. Lose at Tennessee, 3-3. Beat Kentucky. And by the way, I don't think they're winning either one of those games, but for the sake of this conversation, they get to 4 wins, and he somehow finds 2 more, LSU and FSU, whatever. I don't think they're firing him. Whether people want him fired or not, if he sticks around long enough to coach all 12, that's question 1. Are you around to coach them all? And number 2, if you do coach them all, can you get to that 6th win? I do not think they're fired. I will tell you, I could be wrong. And I don't know that this is the right decision if that is the decision they make. I started the season saying I hope he doesn't get fired. I was adamant about that. I don't know that I feel that way anymore because I've now seen enough coaching deficiencies that I don't think he's the guy. So I've flipped even if he didn't get fired, and again, you know me, I'm never going to be upset someone doesn't get fired because I'm not that guy. I just not for whatever reason. But I won't necessarily think they got it right. Does that make sense? Yeah. I won't necessarily, after what I've seen this year, if he's 6-6 and comes back next year, I won't necessarily feel like it's turned the corner. I said before the season, if he finds a way to get to 25, they're going to really be good in his tenure. I don't feel that way now.
I think the only thing that might save him is just the uncertainty at the very top of the university. I mean, having an interim president, I thought Greg McGarity, has made great points, talking about that alignment and how important that is. And would that affect your coaching search if you can't tell the football coach you're trying to hire who the president is? So I think that plays to Napier's favor, but I don't think he's getting to 6 wins. And even if he got to 6 wins, unless through your back channeling, all you're hearing, if you're Scott Strickland and whoever else is involved in this search, is my guy's not coming because he doesn't know who his boss is going to be. Right. Unless that's all you're hearing. Like, I'd rather have Napier in 25 than Jamie Chadwell.
Yeah, I would too.
So, I mean, if that's where it ends up.
Because if you get Jamie Chadwell, who whatever new guy you got him for 3 years.
Right.
Yeah. It used to be 4 or 5. Now it's at least 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, if he were to get to 6 wins, and I could get Lane Kiffin, I'd fire Billy Napier. But if it's Napier at 6-6 and the best I can do is the Liberty coach, then I'd probably give Napier another year, let a president get hired, get entrenched, and then, sort of see where you are at that point. I really hope it doesn't come down to that. I mean, I just, and it's not that I just don't think Billy Napier's the right guy for the job. I think you'd only be delaying it at this point. Because again, it's not like they've lost 2 close games where it's like, man, if Trey Smack just makes that kick, or man, if it wasn't for that, double deflection touchdown Hail Mary, they beat A&M. I mean, Miami and Texas A&M gutted them.
Yeah, and I don't think the gutting's over.
It's not.
I don't think the gutting's over. So we'll see. All right, let's say hello to Rick Below.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
I'm going to get right to this. I'm not beating around the bush. People beat around the bush too much. Football sucks around here. The Bruins are about to start. How's our power play look?
Special teams always big in the sport of the National Hockey League, whether it's a power play or being shorthanded. Still have my questions. They need another sniper.
Do they still
Any
have
ideas?
Is Patty Bergeron still there?
No, he retired.
Dang it.
A year ago.
Marchand?
Brady Marchand, an Irishman who's all of 3'7".
Yeah.
401 career goals.
Yeah.
He's still there.
And how about the 6'9" guy? Is he still there?
No, Chara's been gone now for 3 years. The Big Z.
That's all I got. Listen,
Chara?
I just dropped knowledge on you there, Baloo. I want to make
impressive.
sure that just happened right there. Carlyon has no idea what we're talking about. We were bonding over a little puck right there is what was going on. Sorry
you
to
think
leave
the
you
Jags
out.
have it bad? It's only been 30 years. The Bruins won it in 70, 72, and 2011.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Okay, how about 2011?
I mean, the other one they won was like 2000. I mean, it was like 1914 and 1922. I mean, those great fans have had 3 championships since 1970. It's hard to win it all.
Yeah, it is. It is hard to win. So, all right. Hey, Jags and Texans. Texans are beat up a little bit.
Yeah.
Texans are beat
Running backs.
Yeah, yeah.
No
any
doubt.
confidence? Do you have any confidence going into that one or no?
Well, here's what I know. Houston went through that great streak where they won 9 in a row against the Jags, but Jacksonville's won 2 out of the last 3 in this series, both there. So they've been able to go there and say, hey, listen, this is our home turf.
Including last year.
This is Jacksonville in Texas. So if there's a place to kind of solve this thing,
right?
Recent history tells us the Jaguars play well there. And, you know, I'm always been big on how you respond on Saturday and how you respond on Sunday, being a professional compared to playing the college game. But I got to believe that those players in Houston have really been hearing it this week after getting just blasted by Minnesota. I mean, we know what it's like been around here for 3 weeks. But think about what it's been like. So it's going to be really intriguing to see how these teams are early in the first quarter, what team showed up and what team is frankly not ready to go.
What's coming up tonight?
We got a ton tonight on the Jags, a little bit of college football. The Philly Godfather, who's just been giving out nothing but winners. I mean, I should have brought him on yesterday. He would have told us exactly where the hurricane was coming and where the hurricane was avoiding. He's been that good. He's going to be here at 6:40 to pay your mortgage.
Sounds good. Rick Beluga's into the night. And that happens right now. Folks, that'll do it for our program. Again, stay safe if the rain does come through tonight. We don't think it'll be here long, but it could be bad for a while. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Tomorrow's program, Pete Prisco checks in. Doug Peterson, the coach, will be on with us, and a whole lot more. We're out of here. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.